Do you want to look like the dark academics of the web that belong in the Dead Poets Society or Mona Lisa Smile? But you unfortunately don't have an old private school uniform laying around or the willingness to spend $45 at an Instagram shop. Then you have stumbled upon the right tutorial to achieve your dark academia dreams of wandering around your New England campus in winter with your iced vanilla latte, because counterintuitiveness is just a part of the aesthetic. You can wear your oversized sweater with your college logo proudly, your thin-rimmed non-prescription glasses only worn to read books found in thrift stores to say, "I'm less basic than you," and of course, the quintessential pleated skirt. I have to admit that before starting this piece, I was intimidated by the pleating technique and the amount of time spent ironing. But remembering how good I've gotten at ironing all my plaid pants for my dark academia lifestyle helped me get through it. And having academia in my title made me realize that this project wasn't actually hard. The first thing you'll need is some non-stretch woven fabric so that the pleats stay in place and hold their shape. The fabric needs to be only slightly more flexible than your 17th century English literature professor with their deadlines, discussion questions, and interpretation of the text. For the skirt, making the pattern is pretty easy. All you need are two very differently sized rectangles. This is perfect for those of us that are fully immersed in the dark academia lifestyle and only have time for hobbies that include perfecting your personality to match your physical aesthetic, but ultimately are deemed useless. The first rectangle is the waistband. I made mine the circumference of my waist and 2.5 inches long while adding 1/2 inch of seam allowance on every side. The second rectangle needs to be the desired length of your skirt. Mine was about 16 inches without seam allowance, and 3 times the circumference of your waist with seam allowance. I decided to make my pleats 1 inch wide, but keep in mind that if you have small pleats, the sewing prep will take longer, which may prevent you from completing that Anderson and Dwyer reading that you already told everyone is your favorite reading from this semester, because it proves that nations and all borders are social constructs. I marked 1 inch away from the corner using a pencil, because I didn't have my feather quill pen at the moment, and then marked 3 inches away from the original mark. To pleat your fabric, your first and third inch will meet up while the second inch will be folded behind the pleat. Then you repeat this for the width of your skirt and are eventually left with a pleated skirt with pins. But first, let's gather around this campfire and watch this pleating montage. The first thing you're going to sew is a straight line across the top of your pleats to connect them to each other. Then I attached the folded raw edge of my waistband to the raw edge of the pleats I just sewed together. The skirt should not reveal any of the raw edges on the outside, since your dark academia look only exudes pretense and old money. When I was taking my original measurements, I must have been distracted watching season 1 of Gilmore Girls again, back when Dean had long hair and wasn't in Supernatural. Next, use an iron or flat iron to make the pleats very flat and indented. I know I'm supposed to be into dark academia and all, but right now my vocabulary just isn't up to par.
Mission failure.
You can try on your skirt now to see how it fits, and I knew I had to make mine a little smaller at the waist. I used 2 separate panels for my skirt because I didn't have a long piece of fabric, so this is where I attached the 2 panels together. I left one side of the skirt open so I could insert the invisible zipper. This was my first time using a zipper foot, and my zipper was like 85% invisible, which is good enough for me. It may only be 75% aesthetically pleasing, but it's still 100% functional enough for me to be freezing in the cold on campus. After searching through my kind of extensive collection of buttons, I found a clasp for my skirt. I hand sewed on a clasp at the top of my zipper with 2 tightness options to close the skirt. These 2 metal clips are only like 1/2 centimeter apart, but it could still make a difference. This was when I realized that my skirt was still a little bigger than I intended, so I put in 2 small darts in the back to make the skirt smaller. But do not do this, because it can actually ruin the pleats. Instead, open the skirt and sew the last side together to make the skirt have fewer pleats all around.
She likes chocolate covered strawberries and wine.
To make the top of the pleats flat, I also sewed the inside of the pleats down with a curved shape so that you wouldn't see the stitching on the outside. I made sure to taper the width of the stitch 6 inches down on the skirt so it would still fit me from the top to the bottom. I thought this would work, but I couldn't get as close as I wanted to the fold, so I decided to add vertical stitches to the top of the skirt to really flatten the curve. I mean the pleats, of course. Finally, I sewed a tiny hem on the bottom of the skirt for that polished look.
Hey, yo, chill, it's just a draft. Yeah. She a little bad, hit her with the bag, yeah. Put it on the tab.
Now I can add the ubiquitous pleated skirt to my dark academia wardrobe, even though this may or may not be the first piece in that wardrobe. Being in this specific aesthetic, dark colors and thick fabrics just work best. So I didn't want to buy one of those flimsy see-through white skirts from sketchy sites, you know? Good luck in trying to make this skirt to achieve your dreams of that dark academia look. But don't forget about committing yourself to the reading ancient literature and writing poetry in your free time part either, which is exactly what I'm gonna do right now. So, bye! Just kidding, I'm not that committed.